I call BS on this next story. And I think it's important that when we see stories that aren't true, we shut them down
Mhm.
so that they don't continue to circulate. But I need to see the look on your face as I read some of these, okay?
Okay, okay.
Harry lays out three major demands before meeting his father. Again, I call BS on this story. Sources claim, and this is Rob Shooter again. I'm going to hesitate um, referencing him in
Well,
the future because so many of his stories have been false. Remember, he's the one that was like Meghan's Netflix deal dead, and we all spent 2 weeks mourning
yeah,
Meghan's Netflix deal. We poured one out for the homies. We had a funeral, and then Meghan comes back season two. All right, let's
yeah,
go.
yeah. I don't. You know what it's like? It's like we not that we're a sports thing. It's a bit like journalists throwing out the ex-player. And it might be the same when you're trading in the NFL or anything. I'm reference there because it starts this week, so I know what's going on down in your country.
Thank
You
you.
know, when we have journalists have sometimes just throw out a story, scattergun and hope, and then one sticks, and then you go, well, look, I told you so,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I don't know this guy, but let's be honest, this the stories that I'm going to leave you to read them out, and I'll give you my reaction
yeah.
um, along the way. You have to then go. He's going to put them out there, but actually, some of these stories don't sound too far fetched.
Yeah, because he was also the one that reported that like Meghan thought Taylor Swift was angry, or Meghan was convinced Taylor Swift did her podcast episode with By the way, when you said the NFL starts next week, I immediately my mind said Travis Kelce's going back to work. Like that's how I associate the
Well,
NFL
I think
back
he's
to
been
work.
back to work for a bit. He's probably been
Yeah.
in pre-season.
Oh
You
yeah,
can't
for
just
sure.
turn up
Sure.
and
I'm
get
just
yourself.
excited to see Travis Kelce back on the field. But this is the same guy that claimed Meghan was assumed that Taylor Swift released her podcast episode with Travis Kelce on purpose at the same time she dropped her trailer. And while I think Meghan is like a level of delusion that is really truly special, like I do believe that this was far-fetched, that Taylor Swift is sitting around going, I'm going to release one of the most raw, um, intimate conversations I've ever had in my life with my boyfriend, who's going to be my fiance in the next 12 hours. On the same day Meghan Markle launches her crappy trailer for With Love Meghan 2. But let's get back to this story that I'm pretty sure is
Yeah.
BS and we should call out. Sources claim a list of stipulations exists that Harry insists must be met before he agrees to engage in any face-to-face discussions with his ailing father. The source disclosed that Harry is adamant that full security for himself, Meghan, and their children while in the UK must be funded by the king, ensuring they feel safe during any potential visits. The insider explains Harry doesn't want another trip where he feels unprotected and exposed. He wants ironclad guarantees, not vague promises. Security and privacy are non-negotiable. Rupert, tell me right now, is it the Ravik? Ravik has said we will determine what type of security you get based on you just giving us a heads up. Harry has security.
Yeah, he does. Of course, he has security. Just tell us if you're coming. We will analyze the threat if it's a serious one, because they're not stupid. We're not stupid in this country when it comes to security of members of the royal family, whether they're working or not. They don't need the hassle. Look, he's living in America, which is, things can happen there. Let's be honest, presidents get shot at. So it's the security is it's just a complete red herring.
And
It
the
is a
idea that that Harry would expect the king to pay for it is like,
no,
I mean,
no,
I don't believe it, but like, that's why one of the reasons why I think that this is so silly. Like, you blew up your job, then you called the royal family a mystery member of the royal family racist. Surely to God, you don't think that they're going to want to come to your rescue and pay for your private
yeah.
security.
Here's the thing: Meghan doesn't want to come over here. If she did, the security wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I
That's
think
that's the that's the nub, the gist, and the brouhaha of the whole thing.
yeah.
If it's a convenient excuse to say why Meghan and the children don't come here. No, it's because Meghan doesn't want to come here.
Yeah. Okay, let's
I
talk
mean,
about
she's never shown it. iota of interest of saying I'd love to be there. And any of the podcasts and everything done, I would love to take a trip back to
Well,
England. If
she
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 did,
does say that she misses Magic FM on With Love Megan
yeah,
season.
well, she can probably download that and listen to it online somewhere. So, don't you just have to go, Alexa, play me Magic FM? Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
All right. So Harry's second request reportedly centers on press oversight. He has asked that Buckingham Palace handle media relations during visits in order to protect him and his family from intrusive paparazzi. To your point, the British paparazzi have changed direction dramatically. Look at how we never see the Wales children. According to one insider, the move reflects his wish for a carefully managed narrative around their time in the UK, explaining that press control coordinated by Buckingham Palace to keep paparazzi at bay is vital. The request highlights ongoing questions about how the royal family adapts to today's media climate while balancing public visibility with personal safety. That gave a lot. That gave me chat GPT feels. This is BS because Harry doesn't trust Buckingham Palace. There's no way he would be
Oh,
like, I trust you guys to deal with the media, to deal with the paparazzi. Go into how the paparazzi's changed in the UK and how it's more aggressive in the United States, which we have seen. It's still more aggressive in the United States. Although I feel like paparazzi in general has changed, the value is not there for most celebrities because social media exists. So it's not, you're not going to get a $500,000 for a photo now because that person's posting half naked selfies all over Instagram, 7 days a week or their OnlyFans page. But, I just think that there's no way that this is true because Harry would never trust Buckingham Palace to have anything to do with them.
no, and again, Meghan wants total control.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Buckingham Palace, weren't they the villain of the piece before, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
That was the
Exactly.
whole point.
Yeah.
They were encouraging anti-Meghan sentiment. So, that probably is, you know, coming over here, that story did not resonate with me because it just doesn't sit comfortably with the way the Sussex modus operandi is. Yes, we saw the two PR teams getting together, and maybe if they do have a coordinated opportunity, then there is something. But Meghan will want to call the shots.
Mhm.
That's the way she is. And, that when you read between the lines, whether it's Chat GPT or what not, it actually ultimately says the narrative wants to be totally controlled, so no negative stuff. So if suddenly there is a crowd of people who don't seem to be totally enamored with Meghan and Harry because of, there are, people who might be hissing and booing at them, that may not be what she wants. Well, she certainly doesn't want. She's so I don't necessarily I'm not taking that story overly seriously
Well, wait,
because
wait until you hear this one. I
okay,
can't wait to see your eyeballs. According to this
okay.
Harry has stated that he wishes for Meghan to be treated with the honorific HRH, Her Royal Highness title, including customary bows and curtsies from family members, despite her stepping down from royal duties. As one source stressed, Harry insists Meghan must be treated as HRH. That means family members must show her the formal respect of bows and curtsies. For William, that's a hard no. A palace veteran explained King Charles wants peace to see his sons, but these demands risk blowing open old wounds. I heard that when she first started talking to William Morris Endeavor, which where are they? Because, I haven't said this before, I don't think, but Rupert, she couldn't even get the cast of Suits for With Love,
Hmm.
Megan. That would have been interesting to people to see her engaging with these people that she worked so closely with for years in Canada. Like, what is William Morris Endeavor doing? But I did hear that they were asked to call her by her title, and some were afraid they were supposed to bow to her within the William Morris Endeavor building. Um, that's crazy to me. I hope that no one ever bows or curtsies to this woman. She has been so appalling to this family and this institution.
Well, and wasn't she patronising about the curtsying
Oh yeah,
in Spare? and
No,
doing all that
the Harry and Meghan
rubbish.
Netflix
Yeah, so
series.
I'm sorry. No, yeah. Again, when I read that, I'm thinking, no, that can't. Harry hasn't got that. He's not that stupid to make that happen.
Yeah, surely to
I
God.
know.
I mean,
If should no, no, sorry. And I'll tell you what. You know, does that mean what? Does the Princess Royal do? Are you saying she should bow? Not a chance in, cat and hell's chance. No, sorry. That is just ludicrous that she should be even. That is even a suggestion. Um, and if it is a suggestion that is based on truth, then once again they are surpassing themselves with their absolute vanity,
oh,
or in Meghan's case, her vanity. So I am trying to suggest that this again seems even fairly extreme story to be putting out there. So I'm going to dampen it, um, and just hope to God it's not true.
right.
I don't think it is true.
I don't believe there's any truth to it. And occasionally I
Yeah,
think we need to say that before these stories,
yeah,
like a domino, like a game of
yeah. So
dominoes.
I don't think. Of course, she wants to be known as the Duchess of Sussex, and obviously everything she puts out, she tries to give
That's
it
my
this.
legal name. That's my legal name.
Uh,
I'm Megan
well,
Duchess.
and all that sort of monogrammed stuff to make it looks like it's coming on, all the sort of traditional stuff. Absolute poppycock. But anyway, the fact of the matter is, I hope that story has not a vestige of truth in it. And I'm prepared to say I don't think it has. But trouble is, deep down, somewhere lurking in the recesses of my brain, I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility that they might have even thought that.
Yeah,
Uh, uh,
the HRH thing is the only thing that
mhm,
stands out to me as
mhm,
potentially being
yeah,
something that they would firmly believe
yeah.
in. Like when I come back, I want her to have respect. Like stop. What?
And it annoys me that the children have got HRH
Yeah.
because they're living in America. And I'm
Mm.
sorry, does when they go to school on the school board, I mean, I assume all schools still have that. Obviously, my education times were a long time ago in a different era, but I'm sure there are name boards up there of who's in classes. Do they insist that they are listed as HRH, Archie, Sussex, whatever is Mountbatten, Windsor, whatever is
No,
proper?
they call them in private in at school and everything. It's Archie Sussex, Lilibet Sussex. The HRH thing is something that he pitched a nasty fit for to make sure
Mm,
they had on their passports. And I think that he wanted them to have British passports. And it's like, Lily's an American, 100% an American. Why would
yeah,
she
because she
have?
was born because she was born in America, so it becomes impossible not, doesn't it? You
Yeah.
can't, even
I
British.
think he got his way. I think he pitched enough of a fit that he got his way when it came to the passports, but they are HRH on their
I
pass.
mean, to me, I know we've mentioned this before, but it just living in America, it's unfair on those two. They should just be going in as, but when you've got the Duke of Duchess of Sussex, normally in the aristocratic terms, the children are called something else, the sort of family name of whatever dukedom it is. If you're the Duke of Roxburgh, in his car would be the surname, or Beaumont, before you inherit the title. That's the way it works. The same with um, other aristocratic titles. Someone.
The way that it, well, but I would say, didn't we call Harry, and I agree with you, and I know you're technically right,
Mhm.
but in the media landscape, did they not refer to William and Harry sometimes as the Wales boys, even though Prince William had not inherited the Wales title yet because Prince Charles was the Prince of Wales?
Yeah, yes, that would be. It's easier that way
No, I
because
totally
obviously
agree with you.
it's not the Windsor boys or whatever it is, but so it's a bit like why the Queen has become the Queen, because she was going to be something else. She wasn't going to be the full Queen, but it just almost people going, well, she's Queen, is she Queen? What are we what It almost becomes too difficult. So you might as well just give her the Queen title.
Mm-hmm. Right. She was going
because
to
the media,
as
it's
consulate,
easier
which
in this media way.
yeah.
You know, the formality of previous times when describing members of the royal family, you would have had to do it and probably write it in a very formal way. But we're
But
in
here's
this.
here's the annoyance that Meghan and Harry just make up their own rules without consulting with
Oh,
the British royal family. Do you care if we do this? Do you mind if we do this? Meghan just makes up her own rules and then demands, like says it to Mindy Kaling or says it to the host of Bloomberg that this is the way it is, period. Instead, when no one ever said, do you mind if we go in this direction? And don't forget, Prince Harry went crawling to Earl Spencer saying, can I have your last name? And Earl Spencer was like, I don't think that's the best idea.
no, and this is the problem. You know, they've got themselves, the Sussex, okay, that's her name.
But also, oh, I
But
should mention also, Harry did not want to give up his title. And if he became a Sussex, he would have to give up his title, the titles that they are monetizing.
yeah, well, the whole thing is ripped with hypocrisy, as
Mhm.
we know. Um, but it's going to be, the whole saga just will continue to unfold. But it does come back to, like the original point is how will Harry uh, re-establish any sort of contact that is not having to break down deep-seated lack of trust from the members of the royal family about what he's done, and at times feel he's continuing to do. And Meghan's strange view of the world. Suddenly, the great pantyhose scandal of 2025 as one of the take. We've talked about that we're going if that unbelievable what that was about. You go, well, where did that suddenly come from? Of all the things that we'd heard that she was upset about, why didn't we hear about that before? Where's that suddenly come from? The whole thing is just made up as she goes along, you feel at times. That if on one minor grievance, maybe one day she was made to, and you think, oh, she suddenly turned that into the big saga of all times.
Mhm.
I don't know. Look, we don't know the full facts and of half the things that are going on.